Our film today tells the story of a young man who controls real people and objects with the laptop's mouse cursor and changes everything in reality. The story begins with the employees being busy in the office. Some of them are working with papers, while others are working on their laptops. A young man is seen focused on his laptop, wearing glasses and with his hairstyle to the side. Suddenly, something strange on the wall in front of him catches his attention. He looks at the laptop once, then looks back at the wall and notices that the mouse cursor is moving on the wall. He is surprised by what he sees, so he places his fingers on the laptop's mouse pad to confirm that the cursor is indeed moving on the wall. A faint smile appears on his face, and he looks around to see if any of his colleagues are aware of what is happening to him. After that, he wants to know if this cursor movement has an effect in reality. He moves the cursor towards a cup on the table, and when he clicks, the cup falls over, spilling the tea on the table. He draws the attention of his colleagues, and he tells them that everything is fine. Then he smiles again and looks at the objects around him, searching for something else to try. He finds a piece of paper and moves the cursor towards it. Here, he sees that the cursor has transformed into a writing tool, and the paper contains a warning about his delay at work. He clicks on the writing, erases the warning, and writes in its place, "The manager is a fool," and also adds a bonus to his monthly salary. Then he holds the paper and laughs wickedly. When his colleagues turn to him, he tells them that everything is fine. Then he laughs his wicked laughter again. He leaves the office carrying the laptop and sees a beautiful girl sitting at a desk in the adjacent hall. He sits on the chair in front of her desk, pretending to work on his computer, but he moves the cursor towards her and startles her by clicking. She gets startled and runs away, and he laughs his secret laugh again. This person is not satisfied with everything that happened in the office, so he goes out to look for his friend. When he finds him with his girlfriend, he takes him aside to tell him everything that happened. At first, his friend thinks he is joking, but when he sees him change the company's sign from North Bank to Cabaret and Amusement Park, his friend screams with joy because he can't believe what he is seeing. His friend asks him to do something else. And here he suggests that he do something to the manager's car parked next to the girls. He directs the cursor once again towards the car and changes its size until it becomes small, like a toy. His friend screams again and can't believe what he is seeing, so he says to him, "What is this, my friend? I'm going crazy." Then the young man continues playing with the mouse, and this time he copies a part of the wall and pastes it on the window, causing the window to disappear. His friend is still amazed, so he says to him, if they open any program, they can run it in reality and change anything. At this point, his friend starts having devilish ideas to the point that the young man becomes afraid of him. He also suggests that they go to the bank and blackmail the manager to give them a lot of money, and he believes that the manager will agree because no one will believe him or understand this blackmail. However, the young man doesn't like his friend's ideas and becomes even more afraid of him. And at this time, the manager went down to the garage and couldn't find his car. He began searching for it everywhere until he saw a small toy on the ground. At the same time, the young man and his friend were talking about the things they could do and how they could reach anyone. At that moment, criminals, politicians, and even the police wouldn't be able to stand in their way. The young man became even more afraid of his friend's devilish ideas. He looked at the laptop and selected the icon he used to shrink the manager's car. Then he moved the cursor towards his friend, who was saying that if anyone tried to attack them, they would erase them and the problem would be solved. They could even erase the entire world if they pressed the delete button. However, the young man didn't reveal his intentions to his friend and continued to move with excitement. In this moment, the young man pressed the Control and X keys, which cut out the designated part. He pressed his friend's hand, causing it to detach from his body, which disappeared. But the young man was terrified by what he saw and was greatly surprised to see his friend's hand on the car, with blood flowing everywhere. The car started sounding the alarm, and when they heard it, the young man remained shocked while people gathered around the car, astonished and perplexed by the scene. They called for an ambulance and the police. At that moment, the young man looked from the rooftop and saw everyone, and they told him they would report him for the incident he caused. They asked him to come down, and he became afraid of what had happened. Then he opened the laptop, opened the program, and looked down, selecting the area where everyone was with the car, and pressed a button. Here, everyone, the car, the hand, everything vanished. He then closed the laptop and started to comprehend what had happened. After all the trouble he had caused, he felt it wasn't enough. He went down to the street, holding his bag and the laptop. Now, what would he do again? Then he saw a car approaching, signaling for it to stop. The car indeed stopped, and he told the driver that he needed to go to an urgent place, but the driver refused, saying that the road was crowded and he couldn't reach it. However, the young man told him that he would give him the price he asked for, but the driver apologized and left. This made the young man angry, and he returned to using the laptop and the programs. Here, the car and the driver disappeared at once. In the final scene, the young man walks down the street until he finds himself in front of a big building or villa. He notices that there is a huge mouse cursor on the building and becomes afraid. Then he starts looking around but finds nothing. He continues walking, and here he sees the shape of a mouse cursor on the ground, moving towards him. The young man takes a few steps back, and the cursor also moves towards him, stopping right above him. Then he looks up at the sky, and he is certain that someone else with magical powers pressed this new cursor. The young man explodes and dies, and after that, the cursor starts moving everywhere and then disappears.